Botswana has managed to control foot and mouth disease, commonly known as FMD, by various ways, such as zonation, using the zonation system, whereby the country is divided into various zones by a network of cordon fences. Also, public participation or public awareness education and training of staff with regards to recognition of FMD. Disease surveillance, where we use active surveillance and passive surveillance. Active surveillance is whereby we have a deliberate move to look out for the disease through implementation of a disease surveillance plan. And also we do what is called passive surveillance, whereby we interview farmers. We also do it through laboratory testing. We also do it through when we are issuing movement permits. We inspect livestock to see if there are any suspicious cases. The other thing that we use is our legislation. We have Disease of Animals Act, which empowers the director in a variety of ways to be able to control FMD, such as gazetting an area infected with FMD, coming up with the disease control cordon fences, movement control as well is part of it. The other way is what we call import-export control, which is part of movement control, where we do risk analysis before we import any cloven-hooved live animals, or before we import any product derived from cloven-hooved animals, or before we do exportation of the same, being live cloven-hooved animal or animal products to other countries. The control of foot and mouth disease means a lot to the local farmer because FMD affects the livelihoods. Why do I say it affects livelihoods? When we have FMD outbreak, initially we do movement standstill for cloven-hooved animals and their derived products. That is the first stage when we are still trying to establish where the disease might have spread or where the disease is localized. When we do movement standstill, it means there is no issuance of any livestock movement permits for live animals or for their products. Effectively, it means we stop trade on live cloven-hooved animals and their fresh products. That means there will be shortage of meat in shops, in butcheries, hotels, and also that means even trade between the farmers on live animals, it stops. That means there is no exportation of beef to European Union markets or the regional markets or anywhere else outside the country. Hence, the farmer is affected economically when we have an outbreak of FMD. So controlling the disease, not only is it important to the farmer, it's also important as part of Botswana's contribution to the control of foot and mouth spread, because if there is FMD, it can spread through movement of products or it can spread through movement of live cloven-hooved animals crossing into the neighboring countries or products being moved into the neighboring countries. So it's part of our role in ensuring that FMD does not have impact beyond the outbreak areas. Our control of FMD in Botswana is very, very important because if we stop the spillover to the neighboring countries, it means we are having an impact in facilitating trade between Botswana and our neighboring countries because FMD has a serious impact on trade. If we can control it and our neighboring countries can control the disease, that means as a region we are contributing to the world at large, because by so doing it means there can be trade between Botswana and the region, or trade between Botswana and the international community, or trade between our neighboring countries and the rest of the world if we can contain FMD. Botswana is managing to control FMD successfully, and we have a lot of success stories to share. I can give examples. We once had FMD outbreak in the Matsiloje area. We managed to control it and regained our EU export status. Over and above that, we managed to regain our foot and mouth disease-free status without vaccination. That was in the 2001. 2007, we had FMD outbreak in Zone 7, that is the Pikwe-Bobonong area. We managed to control it and also regained our FMD-free status without vaccination. We also once had FMD outbreak in Zone 12, which is the Khansi district, and we also managed to contain it and regained our EU export status and also regained our FMD-free without vaccination status. And we are continuing to manage to maintain our FMD-free status in the FMD-free without vaccination zones. The rest of Botswana is FMD-free without vaccination, excluding the Chobe district and the Ngambiland district. Chobe district is Zone 1 and the Ngambiland district is known as Zone 2. In these places, we also managed to control FMD through vaccination, but the rest of the country is FMD-free without vaccination. When there is an outbreak of FMD, farmers would always suffer a loss, but the country tries to minimize the impact. So when we have FMD in areas that have been formerly known as FMD-free without vaccination, if we get an outbreak in those areas, one of the ways that we do, we try by all means to eradicate the disease. That means we depopulate that zone, and after depopulation, we do restocking with animals from FMD-free without vaccination, with the whole purpose of the area regaining its FMD-free status, and also with the purpose of the area accessing the traditional markets that it was accessing, such as the EU export markets and other markets in the region. By so doing, we want the farmer to regain their life by being a livestock farmer. We try to mitigate by compensation, whereby we do part as monetary compensation so that before restocking, the farmer has a means of survival. And the government also has other social programs that poorly resourced farmers are assisted through the local government. As part of it, monetary, the rest of the herd, you are given as live animals so that we restock the area and facilitate the farmer to regain their life to the status close to or equivalent to before the outbreak. Something that makes Botswana to have great success in the control of FMD is also having a reference laboratory in Botswana for FMD that is recognized by the World Organization for Animal Health. Our reference laboratory is known as Botswana Vaccine Institute. It's not just a reference lab for Botswana, but it's for the Southern African region or the SADC region. The lab does vaccine production for FMD and other vaccines. Over and above that, they do diagnostics for foot and mouth disease. They also do vaccine strain matching so that if you have an outbreak either in Botswana or any other country, they give you the vaccine that is relevant for the outbreak that the country is experiencing. Moreover, there is a very good political will in Botswana. When we have an outbreak of FMD, the politicians are also involved. Starting from the local councillors, they do join the Department of Veterinary Services in mobilizing the farming communities, addressing them on matters relating to FMD. The local area members of parliament, they are also involved in engaging the communities. The relevant ministers, being the Minister of Agriculture, he leads the troops at the forefront. Over and above the minister's efforts, the President of the Republic of Botswana also joins the fight against FMD by moving around the country, addressing the affected communities and giving them assurance that government is behind them. Government would make sure that the farmers that are affected would be assisted and the disease would be eradicated or brought under control by all means possible.